Hi. The question I wanted to discuss today was, can artificial intelligence be creative? In most common known use cases for AI, it's typically a passive problem solving kind of scenario. Recognizing a pattern, driving a car, finding some sort of optimum parameters for a system, all of these kinds of problems are where you have something more complex that you start with and you simplify it into something that's in a defined domain and only a limited set of outputs. As an example, there could be an infinite number of ways in which I could say the same thing. So I could say, Alexa, could you please turn on the lights? Or I could say, Alexa, could you please turn on the lights? Now, both of these different ways of saying the same thing, a neural network, a pattern recognition neural network, would filter out the irrelevant information and just focus on the essence or the words of what I've said. And that could be used as an input to some sort of machine algorithm afterwards. What about if we want to do the opposite? What if we want to fill in all of these irrelevant pieces of information or the style with some sort of a machine learning algorithm? This is where generative neural networks come into play. And I've talked about this book before. This is the chapter 8 from Deep Learning with Python. It talks about generative neural networks, and I would highly recommend anybody who's interested in creative artificial intelligence to read the book on any book on generative neural networks. The idea is almost the opposite of a pattern recognition style of neural network, which learns the substance by filtering out the style. A generative neural network conceptually is the opposite, where it's learning the style and disregarding the substance. Now, I think this could be the next frontier in artificial intelligence and neural networks as a technology. It could be used in all sorts of different ways where we're designing more and more systems and machines to interact with people in more natural ways. Voice assistance is probably just the start. Most of you would have seen a demo by Google where an artificial agent makes a phone call to an actual person making an appointment for a haircut. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend you go and see it. Search for it. It's really powerful. What about other creative kinds of endeavors? So think about an artist who knows how to play the guitar, but they want the rest of the band to play with them so that they can create a full-fledged piece of art. A generative neural network could create the rest of the music for that person so that they can be more productive and kind of democratize the creation of new art forms and lower the barrier to entry. It could be done for guitarists, for pianists, solo song artists. You get the idea. It could even be used in applications where you could generate custom visual representations for what's being said for people with particular cognitive disabilities. The possibilities here are endless. Now, this discussion wouldn't necessarily be complete without a note of caution. This tech can also be used to create what are called deep fakes. This is the idea of applying a person's style to something they've never said. So an audio recording could be created in the style of any particular person, and that could possibly be used as evidence against them, possibly in a court of law. Now that such technology exists, can any audio or video ever be used in the court of law? That's a problem that needs to be addressed. But what about the court of public opinion? Public opinion is not necessarily as predictable. Laws don't govern public opinion. In fact, it's the other way around. Public opinion often governs what comes out as laws in particular societies. Deep fakes have the potential to exaggerate the problem of fake news, even more so than particular individual presidents in certain parts of the world. So, interesting times ahead of us. Very interesting technology, very powerful technology, the generative neural networks. Um, it will be interesting to see what people do with it. I'll see you next time.